a good way to combat late position steals is to 3-bet, which is true. So all has to be done in moderation, and has to be done with a goal in mind. Or I guess that's not really the best way to say it, but I'm gonna fold this ace deuce off. Given the slight history with this player on the other table, I think he's probably more likely to 3-bet me. Not really a big deal either way, but I'd rather steal with something a bit more playable post flop. Yet again, definitely just to defend here. One of the reasons I'm not sure if I mentioned yet is when deciding whether or not you want to 3-bet these hands, you want to make sure your opponent is calling 3-bets with the dominated hands. If they're not, it's much more advantageous to keep them in. I mentioned it before when the weaker player was in the big blind. I had king queen. Yeah, so pretty standard call on the flop. I beat all of his draws and all of its air. Then once he bets again, you can assume he has strongest draws and then strong hands that aren't looking to fold. Raising the turn would not be a good idea. His range is just too strong, and also you can't really represent anything. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and call here with king 6 suited with deep stacks. And we'll see if anyone doesn't squeeze, if we can get into some interesting post-flop situations. So with 100 big blinds, this flop is definitely just a call to a c-bet, and with 200 big blinds, it's still definitely just a call. The stack depth shouldn't really dictate too much how you play hands like this. It's just by raising, I don't really accomplish too much. Like, I fold out his bluffs, but I beat most of his bluffs anyway. I'm definitely just going to go ahead and c-bet this flop. It misses him a lot. He checks. I think I have a pretty easy check here. I don't want to get check raised, and by betting, my hand looks kind of like what it is. I guess that's not entirely true. I can have a lot of mid pairs, but there's not too many hands that I can expect to get called by, or too many hands I can expect to fold out except for ace high. When the clubs miss, I think I have a pretty easy river bet here. He might call with ace high sometimes. He might call with the worst 6, pocket 3s, and you can eliminate most of the better hands because they're obviously going to bet at some point, most of the time. So, just take a quick note that this player 3-bet under the gun open, the cutoff, and folded to a 4-bet quickly. Not that it's anything revolutionary that people are 3-betting under the gun opens in 6-bet games light these days, but it's good to know that it's good to know who's capable of it. So, I mean, it's basically just good to know who's capable of what at all times. So, you aid your decision-making process. What's up, guys? The audio got cut off from the initial version of this video, so for the last 10-15 minutes or whatever, I'm gonna just fill in whatever was missed. Suppose I could be opening Deuce 5 off there this deep, but I think given how aggressive everyone was playing, there's a good chance that because I'm not so concerned about people defending, like it's likely that my open will show a profit with any 2 cards in a vacuum, but over the long run of the rest of the session and in the future, not that it's so relevant because I'm not going to be playing with these guys that often, but once people start realizing how wide you're actually opening on the button, it doesn't take like a rocket scientist to make fairly reasonable adjustments in terms of 3-betting much wider for value, 3-betting hands like small pocket pairs with the intention to 5-bet after they assumedly think you're going to 4-bet light, stuff like that. It's not super advanced, and it's not something I think would likely happen, but it's something to think about for sure. Speaking of which, looks like Follow the Hawk, just 3-bet to 5-bet beats there, which is possibly not so great because he wasn't 5-betting all in. He was 5-betting and I guess trying to induce a 6-bet. I don't know how aggressive this player Moy Rums is when it comes to spots like that, but most guys aren't going to be 6-betting light enough to get 8s in there, in my opinion. Certainly, I've played in games before where the dynamic is such that you're definitely going to want to make plays like that, and sometimes you just gotta kind of man up and get it in for a lot of big blinds in pretty marginal situations against guys that are playing super aggro. Kind of interesting hand there. Dirk seems a bit on the passive side, given he opened jacks and didn't bet the flop or the turn. I suppose there's nothing inherently wrong with his line, just for balancing purposes, it's not so fantastic. Here were 7s.